changed.
All right, yeah.
Okay, we are live. And sorry,
you didn't tape the stuff we were just talking about. Did you know? Right?
Yeah, we had no tape of that.
In my
head, a hard no.
In my
it's a hard no.
And it's us, the Triple Clowns, the two Hollywood Triple Clowns that we just heard about. G. Randall Johnson and Mrs. Big News, Sarah Marie, and the Truck Stop Burrito, AJ Ryder, and we are, of course, joined with the one, the only, the man of the mountain. And that is Mark Patterson, the King of the Mountain.
Last time I was King of the Mountain, Randy, you demoted me?
Yo, man.
Well, yeah, after the conversation we just have, you went down. You know, I mean, you did just call me Hollywood. And
no, it's okay. That's cool. Yeah, I did.
The man of the mountain, but the man of the mountain is what everybody else calls him, though, right? We call him the King of the Mountain, but everybody does refer to you as the Mountain Man.
Man of the Mountain, Mountain Man, dude, get your shit straight, dude.
Yeah, sorry. But we are with Mark Patterson. Who else would we be with when we're talking West Virginia Derby?
Yes.
And Mountaineer. And either Mark has really big hands or he's drinking out of the smallest solo cup ever.
Like an espresso solo cup.
Yeah. But anyway, Mark.
A little bit of both, Randy.
Dude,
that really is
like the smallest cup
okay.
ever.
Okay. Before we start, we need to. Is that a
regular
regular size solo cup?
When people see me in person, I tip the scales. I don't know, maybe 290, 295, and I'm like 6'2". And it's like, there's the man mountain. I've never seen a person your size.
Wait, hold that cup back up.
I'm thinking, dude, you haven't been around much.
That's not a real cup. Your hands aren't that big.
That's cute.
My God.
Like a little red
you know what? When I was younger, when I was in school, I could just straight up hoop. I mean, man, I could stroke it. I was too short. I was too short to go to the next level.
Well, you know, AJ and I are both.
How many ounces does that cup hold?
How many ounces?
Yeah,
it's my fourth one, AJ.
He's doing shots.
No, I'm saying, but how many ounces? How many ounces like full does that cup hold?
I'm sorry, is that not allowed on the Triple Clowns?
No, dude, no.
Okay.
It's welcome.
No, it's fine. Yeah, we're not talking about what's inside of it. I just want to know, like, in ratio of how, if it's a 16-ounce solo cup, how big that paw is.
And the door behind you looks small as well. Are you a giant?
That's true.
Mark?
He's only 6'2", but goddamn,
I know
he's got some mitts on him, bro.
AJ and I, Mark, are both 6'3".
He's the king of the mountain.
So
I'm actually not even real, guys. What do they call it on the Starship Enterprise?
16
the next generation, a hologram.
He's a hologram.
You're in the holodeck now. I'm not real. I never have been.
Mark Patterson's not real, guys. Breaking news. You heard it here first. Mark Patterson is actually a hologram.
He's not
a holodeck of the Starship Enterprise.
So what's the general idea here? We're going to talk about the last 4 races on Saturday's card?
I'm not giving up on this solo cup at all.
This horse racing thing is actually why we wanted you on our show. It gets a little confusing.
Yeah.
You guys have a different masthead now, Degen Nation?
Yes. We are with Degen Nation.
These guys went
These guys are a bunch of degenerates. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I think that's
what
always.
No, I dig it. I fit right in. It's perfect.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. You belong here.
Yeah. So, and welcome everybody that's watching us live. And if you're not watching us live and you're watching it taped, you missed out because you could get in on this action and talk to Mark. I know everybody wants to talk to him, and we will put up your questions and comments if appropriate, and even not appropriate, we might put them up.
I was going to say if appropriate.
Whatever.
And shout out to the guys over there at Pub Source Radio. They do Mountaineer all the time, and I see the guys out there right now.
Yeah,
and they know you very well, so I'm sure they have some questions for you. So, yeah, Mark,
as they should, because those guys are up until like 9 o'clock at night. Like they start when Mountaineer starts half the time.
Exactly. Well, let's start it off. And Mark, always a pleasure, man. It's always good to have you. We've all been nervous
to be with you guys.
Yeah. We've all been nervous about getting you on here live. All of us combined live is scary. So stay tuned because
this is gonna get bad.
Yeah,
it could be another dumpster fire.
Well, I want to break this to you guys. As far as live television goes, this ain't my first rodeo.
No way.
It is with us. It is with us, Mark. It is with us. It's a whole different ball game, man. But yeah, you are used to live. I actually told Sarah that when she was like, yeah, Mark was asking about the live thing and this and that. I'm like, he does live every night.
And this is not PG, correct?
No.
What do you think?
It's not even. PG. We're NC.
Well, AJ, I know you couldn't even sit in for 5 minutes.
We're NC 27.
Yeah.
True story. AJ swore on our first show with Horse Racing Nation twice, and we weren't allowed to swear. 2 times we got caught swearing because of AJ. Couldn't not do it.
Just me. Like these two know
Things are
me.
challenging for us.
I don't think I've ever once slipped on the show. Never.
Okay. All right. First question is, before we get to it, do you know Deacon Mike? Because Deacon Mike always, do you know who Deacon Mike is? Because they're saying you do. And Deacon Mike busts our balls a lot.
All the time.
Yeah.
I may know Deacon Mike by a different name.
Is he a real deacon?
Ooh.
A real deacon?
I don't know.
No,
I would not be there to bear witness, AJ. You get what I'm saying? You feel me there, man?
All right, so let's get into it for everybody watching.
Like Deacon Jones, he's not a real.
It's a lot of fun, but let's go into
it. Fearsome foursome,
but
which you were too young to remember.
Fearsome foursome coming in.
Name one other member of the fearsome foursome. In my opinion, you will be heightened exponentially.
Okay, so.
Time's up.
Yeah, what are you doing? Like, yeah, you want him live. Good idea.
All right, then.
Rosie Greer.
I think that
Rosie Greer.
The correct answer was, who is Rosie Greer?
I know who Rosie Greer is.
Well, you got to answer the question.
Excuse me for not being born.
I was going to be funny and say it's the person who tripped during the marathon, but no one out there would get that besides Mark.
Merlin Olsen.
Yeah.
Was another.
Yeah.
I know it was the Rams. Does that help?
Yeah.
Marginally.
Okay. All right.
All right. So let's get on to it.
It's gonna be a good show.
Like I have a little bit of my history. Like
right.
Sorry.
Well, he knows a little bit. All right. Well, the what's it called? The fearsome foursome. Is
Greetings to Deacon Mike, by the way.
Is he in?
I don't know. Deacon Mike's not in the chat yet.
He's not in the chat yet, but if he is, he'll come and offend one of us.
Yeah, you'll know when he is.
Actually, usually me. He goes after me.
He does. Yeah, he does like to harass Randy and makes it even more fun for the rest of us.
Yeah.
But let's get on with it. I think we should talk a little horse racing. It's kind of sort of a big day at Mountaineer on Saturday. We have a really big day at Mountaineer. Lots of stakes races, a few graded stakes, but we're going to give you the late pick 4, which starts with race 6. And race 6 is the Senator Robert Byrd Memorial Stakes. We got 6 furlongs on the dirt, $75,000 at stake for 3-year-olds and up. AJ, who do you like here?
Why do I have to start?
You always start.
Yeah.
I know, but we got Mark on.
Mark is going to come.
What do I know about Martin?
He's going to tell us how wrong.
You have to take a deep breath after you recite the name of the stakes, the entire name.
Yeah, that's a long name.
I never liked the names of these stakes. Like several regimes ago, I'm not talking about current ownership. These names were installed to suck up the state politicians. Really, and to me, these names are cumbersome and just too much.
I don't even know the name of the stakes.
Senator Robert C. Byrd Memorial Stakes.
That's just
no disrespect to the Honorable Senator Robert C. Byrd, but
I'm guessing that was a West Virginia senator.
Nah.
Hey,
wasn't one of the Byrds like a bad person? One of the senators?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
I don't know.
I don't either.
Mark is the best in the business.
We do have a question for you, Mark.
It's Martin Byrd.
Just to be clear, he's no longer a senator, correct?
Probably.
Yeah.
But now I'm super interested in who he was.
He might have won an election.
Wait,
what was it? What was the name again?
Senator Robert C. Byrd.
We call it the 6 furlong boys.
Yeah, let's just keep it that way.
Keep it real simple.
Marty Byrd is the name of Jason Bateman on Ozark.
Well, there we go.
That's the first thing that came to my head.
I watched 2 episodes. I wanted to stick with it, but nobody in my household wanted to watch it with me.
It's good. It gets a little redundant.
But yeah.
I liked it.
I do like it, yes. But Mark, we have a question for you from On the Wrong Lead here, is asking who's the person in charge of the music for the simulcast show when you guys go into your breakup, when you go after the race?
Boy, that sounds like a trick question. What kind of tunes does my man want? Let him supply a couple and
it's
pass it along.
Mark plays it off of his iPad.
I'm not talking about hardcore rap, correct?
It gets a little. No, you guys do some like nowadays music, some like top 80s, top 90s. It's a bit all over the map.
Are they not upbeat enough for him? You know what? I have had a couple of members of Mountaineer Nation text me about the music.
Okay. Sometimes it's a little too nowadays top 20s, which I don't think anybody.
So in other words, he wants music.
And we don't want to name
My man
names.
wants some music, not music.
Music.
Yeah, we'll ask it. Do you want that?
Music's still around?
We're not going to.
Bit of Summer Place, the girl from Ipanema. Am I getting warm there, Mr. On the Wrong Lead?
It's always so sad, he said. The music's too sad.
Oh, he wants more up tempo.
Upbeat. It's Mountaineer. It's party time, guys. Come on now.
I get it.
All right, on Wrong Lead. All right, so that's what we got.
We got your word in for you, Wrong Lead.
I will love that.
Why don't you kick us off?
I think it might be. I think it might be the show's producer, the show's director, Greg Frank, but I'm not certain about that.
Yeah.
And you know what? They blast that 24/7 at the mountain. I mean, you can hear it when you walk about. When you're on duty, there's nobody at the races, like in the mornings.
They're still playing it just because.
You know, Mark, at the end of the day, they're not as hip and as cool. Oh, Degen Mike's on. They're not.
Deacon Mike.
They're not as hip and cool as, you know, Hollywood people like us. I mean, let's just face it.
No.
Actually, we were joking about that before.
Oh, you guys are quite the it couple. You two are quite the it couple.
Of horse racing.
Oh yeah, as in you're it.
Oh boy.
All right. Okay, so we're on. Let's go.
Yes, AJ. Who do you like here in race 6?
First and foremost, I mean, are there going to be protesters outside of the Robert Byrd Stakes?
He was a bad guy, right?
Oh yeah, goodness. I just looked him up real fast. I'm like, oh my god, it's crazy that they still that this has not been brought up by.
I am not going
in the world we live in today.
I know my history. See, I knew that.
Oh my god!
Off the bat.
Let's call it the 6 furlongs, boys, please.
Okay. So we're going 6 furlongs.
All I said was the names are cumbersome and non-applicable to a high-class horse race.
I think, oh man, this makes it way more interesting.
He's the one I'm talking about.
Any members of Modern Nation who are watching now or intend to watch later on, I will admonish this man in person.
Anyway, the race.
Before any of us,
I will dress him down, as they say.
What do you got?
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, talking about the actual race, I do like.
We're actually going to do that. We're actually going to look at these races a little bit.
Yeah. That eventually is the plan. The 7-5 shot Mount Travers. I have to keep on my take. And so it's hard for me to go into this right now. I'm gonna keep him on my ticket. A New York, Parks, Belmont, Saratoga guy, horse that's looked really good at all those tracks. Coming down here now, I think 7-5, rightfully so. So I'm gonna keep him on the ticket. However, I don't think it's like a single by any stretch of the means. I am gonna include another one. One's gonna be the 4 Phase Out, who. When we're coming into these tracks that I don't know, I love a horse that's come here and won here and looked good here. And the 4 Phase Out, the last time out at Mountaineer in that 21K, Mark, is there a higher level allowance race there or no? I mean,
well, that was a non-life allowance, AJ, lifetime conditioner, 3 lifer. I think it was a 3 lifer, correct? Which means even on a subpar stakes, and this is by far the weakest added money event on our card. No question about that. But you know what? It's a big hop from 3 life, even into a stakes race that came up soft like this one did. You know what? I don't want to cut into your time. I'll get to the horse and talk about the race, but it's a non-life race. 4 life would be a higher condition. An open allowance is the pinnacle of non-stakes competition, which is designated as NC allowance in the racing form.
Well, I'm because I'm on time form. I don't have that designation, so I really don't. I just have 3+ or 3-year-olds and up and 21K allowance.
Well, that was an off-turf race too, AJ, which tends to indicate the competition wasn't that stiff. The horse that was second him did come back and win, but I don't want to get too technical too quick here. But the horse that was second came back and won from off the pace, and a race that really shaped up for a late kick. Phase Out was the whole show there. Through the early stages. I don't think he's got the buyers or the sticking power to last this, even if he controls his own destiny out there on a loose lead. But he does have the advantage of having won over the surface. And maybe that amounts to something in this race. Normally it would not in a stakes race here. It would be the last thing you want because the locals would be like dramatically outclassed to the Shippen stakes caliber horses. But in this instance, some affinity that has been proven for the Mountain Maine. You know what? It could be some kind of an advantage.
All right, then I will go with it. So yeah, well, I'm gonna keep him in there. I just realized too that one of my picks. I mean, I got off work like 30 minutes ago, so I did this really fast. The 5, obviously, he's probably gonna scratch. Just ran 3 days ago.
I would assume.
Let's go ahead and assume that. So I'm gonna go back to another one that I looked at. I'll take Big Money Mike, who's first time running in 2021. It's only ever ran 3 races, which I kind of thought was interesting. Like, you're 6 years old and you're running 3 races. So obviously, I don't know what the story is there, but I would imagine it's pretty interesting. And I couldn't get really behind like the Ellis Park Dark Horse and other ones. I was kind of going just with the 7 because the New York Churchill connections, and then I just realized, oh wow, the 5 ran 2 days ago. So I guess I'll throw the 2 in there as well. So I'm gonna go 2, 4, 7.
You know, it's not unusual for somebody to pay the entry fee just to take a look at it, see how it comes up, AJ. There's nothing nefarious about entering with the probable intention of scratching when it comes to an added money race. And you got to put up some dough just to vet the field and take a look at it. So, yeah, I would assume Baytown Bear will not compete. And that's enough about Baytown Bear. It would not have stood a shot in there anyway.
And that's why he's not in there, probably.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go real quick. I'm on that too, and this is me coming from just reading straight off a program of whatever. I don't watch Mountaineer enough to even say this, but the 2 Big Money Mike, obviously, ironically, not with Mike Smith aboard.
But you do know me, even though you don't watch Mountaineer, correct, Randy? You do know me, right?
Of course I do, Mike.
I thought we were boys, Randy.
I thought we were too before you said AJ was your favorite clown. So, yeah.
Former Greyhound trainer.
Dude, you guys are Hollywood, bro. We keep it real.
Too Hollywood for Mark.
Okay. But so I do like Big Money Mike in this race. I think he finished well last time against much better. I think he could go to lead and not look back no matter where you go. I think he could get that. I'm curious about this vet scratch after the trainer switch. I do think this horse might need a race. I mean, in that time, that would make sense. But he's here. He's there. I also like the 1 Dark Oak. I'm going straight chalk here, by the way. So I'm telling people things that are straight chalk. Don't get mad at me. I think this horse could sit on a good trip with a speed duel up front with the 2 pressing the pace. And I'm going to go with the 7 as well, Mount Tavern, because that turf back to dirt. I don't know. This is something that Mark could help me out with. Is that a change that is common or good over there at Mountaineer? And I'm not sure about this horse really being a heavy favorite, honestly, but I can't throw him off the ticket. But I really like the 2 heavy, 1, 2, but I'll throw the 7 in my ticket. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 7. I'm going straight chalk with the 3 favorites, and that's why.
So Sarah Clown's up next, and then I run the anchor leg. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You're clearly the anchor. Like,
but these sessions customarily take 5 hours because that's about the pace we're on, boys.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, we'll take as long as you want.
Yeah.
You got somewhere to be.
Anchor,
you guys have my undivided attention as long as you desire it.
Oh boy. All right. I only went 2 deep here. I'm with AJ here with the 4. I like this horse 6-1. I think the price was pretty good. I think he did a pretty good assessment on this horse. It'll be interesting to see how he does the second time out here. And I think AJ kind of had he brought up some good questions for Mark in regards to this horse, which I think will be interesting, I guess, when we get to Mark, if he has more to say about it. But he is dropping in. I don't know why I wrote he's dropping in class when he's not. My notes are a bit wrong, but I like the 7 here. This horse, they're putting him in blinkers, in which he hasn't run in blinkers in a couple of years now. So not only is he going to dirt at 6 furlongs, they're going to be putting him in blinkers, which I think is something to look out for, because they could just be sending him, or they could just be seeing how he's going to run since he's had a tough past couple races. But I think
that is incisive, Sarah Clown. One reason they put blinkers on a horse who's been running like Mount Travers has is because they much desire to watch their animal in the pan picture. They want to see the horse up in the pan picture.
Yeah.
During the running. You feel me on that?
Yep.
Try to spark some life there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking. But yeah, no, I'm glad you could confirm that. But so I just went 2 horses, 7-4 or 4-7. I would play the 7 over the 4, but
all right. Mark, now's your chance to tell us how wrong we are.
No. Guys, I said this a week of stakes we have on the card. It is littered with non-life condition horses, which is not the norm for stakes race at Mountaineer that is this lucrative. You guys seem to have this obsession with Big Money Mike. So I'm going to touch on Big Money Mike first. I've never seen a horse so lightly raced and inexperienced win a stakes race at Mountaineer. This would be unprecedented, not just unusual, but unprecedented. Obviously, Big Money Mike's got a ton of talent. You can see the kind of speed this horse has displayed. Maybe you look at his last race and feel like he failed his dirt test, because don't forget his 2 big races were both on synthetics, and maybe flunked his class test because Prescott ain't Churchill Downs. Okay, undeniable talent though, comes into a weak race. Crystal Richardson, not normally as trained to associate with stakes competition, but she's having a really good year. She's very, very sharp. But this horse has not only flipped barns since his last race, but he has been sold, which could be danger, Will Robinson, danger, because why would you sell a horse willingly and probably at a bargain price with this kind of potential? All the speed in the world, the numbers, wins first 2 times to the post with good purses at stake at Prescott. So that's kind of a red flag for me. I will say this. My brother, Gary, is Mountaineer's clocker. He's well respected. By far the best morning clocker, the official clocker and identifier is by far the best Mountaineer's ever had. You can actually trust the workouts are to be accurate and apply to the right horse like never before. And Gary gave me a push on this horse. He's got a sharp eye for AM activity. And Gary told me, watch out for Big Money Mike. And when you look at the drills there and you see 46-1, you never find works that fast over the mountain main. And it's not just something that plays into the track class, but also they don't water the mountain main in the morning like they do when they race in the evening. And so it is notoriously dead and cuppy in the morning. And 46-1 is flying. That's a Dr. Fager-like work, AJ, just to kind of pop an inside joke at you there. You know what I mean? Ruffian could never drill that in the morning.
Oh, geez.
So this would be an unprecedented profile to win a stakes at Mountaineer. But this is not the X Factor horse. This is the mystery horse, Big Money Mike. And I'm really looking forward to watching Big Money Mike perform. You guys also discussed the 7-horse Mount Travers. They call 3AU. Had this horse either first or second. Mount Travers is the quote-unquote class of the race, I would say. This is the only stakes-placed runner in the field. He's never won a stakes, but moneyed in a couple of stakes. But those stakes were long ago, and this horse took 5, 6, 7 tries to get past the second-level allowance condition. And that doesn't read class, but it probably towers over this field when you consider the venue was Park. You see some Churchill Downs. This horse was claimed off a drop. I'm not sure he'd ever been in for a tag before, at least not too often. Maybe his first claimer saw him going back to a different barn. You can see Joe Sharp's handiwork with a recent claim in the Governors later on with Colonel's Dark Temper. Look what he did with that horse after he claimed him for a quarter. Came back to be the scourge of the starter allowance ranks over there. So this guy's got skills. His one try so far with Mount Travers was an experiment on grass, more or less. It didn't work. He's getting back to his best game here, Dirt. I don't know how good he's going to be for Joe Sharp, but I would expect a horse that he shelled out $50K for on a horse who was the only stakes-placed runner in the field would run very well here and has the potential to overmatch this field. Another horse that I would look at a lot, guys, and I mean a lot, is on the inside here, and that is Dark Oak. I know Dark Oak would be outclassed in most stakes races with $75K at stake. This is a special situation, though, in this race, and this is a guy, Ray Hernandez, who was always live when he ships horses here to Mountaineer. Dark Oak has run through his non-life conditions, has put up some pretty good numbers. 75 was the buyer, a couple of starts back. He has flopped in some stakes, but comes out of a stakes that had to be way saltier than what he's going to see in here. In fact, I have a note that the winner of that had just taken a couple of Churchill Down stakes and has this phenomenal win record. So Dark Oak will encounter nothing like that tonight. I mean, nothing like it at all. So I think this is a drop in competition for Dark Oak. Dark Oak has speed, to defend the rail, but he can also rate a little bit. He's got a stalking gear, which is going to maybe be critical here with Big Money Mike likely to leave there in a big hurry and phase out. Is a one-dimensional front runner also, so Dark Oak would need a trip. But I suspect out of the kind of motley non-life condition brigade here, Dark Oak, who at least cleared the final non-life condition, did win the 4-lifer, which puts him a little higher up the condition book totem pole than a few others. Might be king of that crew. He just could be the king of that crew, Dark Oak. So I think it would boil down maybe here to Mount Travers and Dark Oak, which isn't saying a whole lot because they could be first and second favorites respectively. And I'm curious about Big Money Mike, but skeptical. Skeptical for a couple of reasons that I listed, that I went into.
I'm very proud of myself that Mark talked about the same 3 horses I talked about. So I'm happy with myself at this point.
Well, I can't make anybody else contender in it.
I can't either. I can't. I couldn't. I was
honestly the only well, you said we were obsessed with Big Money Mike. The only reason I picked Big Money Mike is because the 5 I realized now was going to be out, so that was my substitute.
All right, so let's move on to the next race and let's see who this is named after. That it will be slightly offensive.
This one's nothing too exciting. We go to race 7 here, which is the Grade 3 West Virginia Governor Stakes.
The West Virginia Governor, obviously, he's very.
I know. We got a mile 16th here on the dirt, $200,000 at stake. This is for 3-year-olds and up. AJ, who do you like here?
Hold on, Tom and Tom. I just want to point out, I'm gonna put it up because I'm able to. Patterson is a decent horseman. Tom, can we kick him out of the chat? How do I do that? Is that something I can do?
How dare you say he's a decent
horse. Tom? Let's be real.
You know what? Thanks a lot to the 2 Toms. You guys do realize I'm not a horseman, right? I know they know that.
Yeah, you say you're decent with decent anything with the word horse.
Much appreciated.
Afterwards, yeah, get the hell out of here, Tom.
Oh, poor Tom.
Yeah. Here we go with the Tom and AJ rivalry.
Tom, yeah,
does happen.
Tom, why
you?
Every time.
Tom, don't you have something better to do? Go, go watch Delaware Park somewhere. No one cares.
Get back to Delaware.
Wow. Throw him.
Don't come down here to Mountaineer and tell Mark Patterson he's a decent horseman. Like, go back up to Delaware where you belong, kid.
You know damn well Tom is sitting there gearing up to fight. Come back.
There is a limit to how much I will allow you to antagonize members of Mountaineer Nation.
Yeah.
And you're not even close to it yet.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's move on.
I had to get
the governor snake.
The governor's stake.
Okay, so I'm going with Sprawl for obvious reasons here. 8-5. I mean, this horse just ran, a couple lengths off of Maxfield in the Stephen Foster. Really was doing well at Churchill. Won a super high allowance race, 104K over a sloppy track. But again, it is going to be. I think the forecast does say it's going to rain.
Hey, AJ, I don't mean to step on you, my man, but Dennis Trusty, you were absolutely correct. He is referring to Colonel Stark Temper. Colonel Stark Temper, who did win the West Virginia Derby, and now tries for the rare double.
You're good. You're killing my vibe here.
Oh, you had that note, AJ.
Oh my God,
my bad. You actually caught that?
I gotta pick this up.
Yes.
Come with it.
Come on, man. Jeez. Anyway, Sprawl,
taking the horse
who again I said might be a sloppy track in Chester,
20%
West Virginia.
Chance of precip.
Yeah, I seen more.
20%.
I'm saying there's a good chance it could be sloppy. Regardless of that fact, I think this 4-year-old is coming along very nicely and is going to show up here. But we shall see. Oh man, God damn it, Mark.
You had one good point to make, and it got jumped.
Yeah, I was.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
You had no idea, but you ruined it.
I fantasize about him and me being besties. I really do, and then it never works when we're face to face. So to speak. Anyway, it all goes south immediately.
After coming off of talking about a 3-race run 6-year-old in the last one, I love the 8-year-old Exalting coming into this, who's been on an absolute tear in 2021. This horse is, I mean, you could say, yeah, he ran his great numbers, but it hasn't been winning races at this. I know there Oaklawn Park starter allowances, but it's just been blowing the hinges off of most of the competition that's running against. I love the confidence that this horse has coming in. I think Exalting, even though it's 8 years old in this race, I really like the opportunity here. Again, if what I read for the weather report come Saturday, if it does come to fruition, blowing the doors off of an Oaklawn Park starter allowance against Honoring Major and Red Again at that mile, looked like it could have ran a mile in 7/8 and just destroyed everybody. I like how this horse has kind of gone all over and been able to win. And then I was going to bring up the 3 in the Colonel's Dark Temper, who let's not joke, everybody, 3 for 3 in 2021. And then you want to talk about a horse who has been here and done that. What was that, Mark? 4 years ago now that this horse came over here and won this race? 3 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago, AJ.
4 years ago. Been here, done that. Might be running its best races right now. And you're going to tell me you're going to give me 5-1 on that horse? I will take that all day long. A former past champ, just because you won it once, God damn it, kid, you can do it again. I don't care how old you are. Let's get some, baby.
You guys know, and so does Mountaineer Nation, that I am Mountaineer's morning line maker. And just a little tip to you guys out there. When you watch this, I think I went astray a little bit here. I think I should have went higher on the 6-horse Exalting. On second look, Exalting, I don't think it's going to be that low. It's 7-2. And maybe a little bit too low on the 4-horse Bourbon Calling. I just wanted to clarify that.
Well,
AJ, you must have this lurid fascination with starter allowance horses, because that's what Colonel's Dark Temper and Exalting have been winning, starter allowance races.
Hey, man.
With that being said.
Yes, with that being said, let me just go on the fact of I love Exalting. And that was my top pick, Mark. And now that all of a sudden AJ got me all pumped up for a second, and Mark just kicked me straight.
I'm not knocking the horse's chances. Hey, I just want to make the distinction.
When me and Randy agree,
the horse is a starter allowance phenomenon.
No, I'm just.
It is in with the big boys here.
But I will go. I mean,
this is a massive class jump for Exalting, even out of his last stakes race.
Well, and here's my reasoning with it. You do see he's 3 for 3 at Sharp, and Sharp's a good trainer, right? And he's 3.
I thought you were talking about Exalting. Now, which starter allowance phenom are we discussing now?
Okay, but
Colonel's Dark Temper or Exalting?
Okay, but we're talking about a horse that's destroyed. I mean, like, looked better in 2021. I don't care if it's a starter allowance race or a 20K maiden claiming race at fucking Arlington Park.
He wouldn't be in a maiden claiming race because he's won. So.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you could put him in that race. I'm saying the way he's won these races coming on now in this year, like, shit, maybe this horse it's found itself, man. The
horse is getting crazy good, and it has the speed numbers too.
Yeah, and
to compete, to be competitive.
What I was going to say is yes, and he's been within 3 lengths in his last 7 starts if he didn't win. In 7 last starts, he's been within 3 lengths if he didn't win.
You know what? It is last stakes, though, Randy. I don't think it came up that tough. I really don't. The winner I would characterize as workmanlike. That was a Brad Cox charge, getting a little bit up there in years. The horse has always been kind of a second-tier stakes horse. I think this is a saltier race. I do respect the way the 6 horses come to hand. Yeah, and might run well. But I do think I went too low on the morning line. I don't think the horse will be that low.
And when I said Sharp, I'm sorry. I apologize. I was reading another note.
No, you're talking about Colonel's Dark Temper.
The
one thing they share is they've been the scourge of the respective starter allowance ranks, the tracks they compete at. But beyond that, I don't see a lot of similarity in their forms. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes.
Well, that's the 2 I'm going to take, apparently. I am going to take those 2. And I did mean, and I do have a note of Maker and Giroux. I mean, coming here to ride Exalting, and I do like that 3. I'm not going to play the 1 because I'm going to try to beat him because I think there's going to be some speed up front that's going to pressure, and I think that could be a problem. So I got to play something away from the 8-5 shot. So that's what I'm going with there with Sprawl. Not that Sprawl's not any good. I just need to find a price somewhere. So I'm going to go 3-6.
Okay. Well, I also picked the 6, Exalting. Enough said there. I am with AJ here on the 1, though. Sprawl 8-5 with Talamon the Irons. AJ brought it up. He's battled against Maxfield. He lost by a head to Mighty Heart, which, speaking of Mighty Heart, is the other horse that I'm picking. The 5 here, I think, is a really interesting horse.
Now, hold on. You and Randy both like Exalting?
All 3 of us do. Yeah.
All 3 of you guys?
Yeah, we're
okay.
AJ screamed about him.
I will say this: the last time this horse lost in its last time out.
Oh, he's fired up about this horse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like I said, it's going to be a long session.
Lost to Plainsman, who has now gone 3 for 4.
I'm not sure where to even start here.
The only loss in the last 4 races that Plainsman has had was to the winner of the Byrd.
I know the similarity in selection on this side.
In Lone
races got the pillow talk. Yeah, I went there on the air. Yeah, I did. I went right there.
3 for 4. Last time
AJ,
this horse lost.
AJ does not live anywhere near you guys.
To the winner of the Birdstone today.
All right, Mark, jump in quick.
Is he always just fired up, or do I just bring it out in him?
AJ, a big Exalting fan right now. And you know the worst part is he's going to be at that race. He's going to be watching it, and God forbid this horse wins. This is an extravagant kid situation for everybody out there that doesn't know.
The horse has a shot.
Vic Stauffer still brings up the extravagant kid AJ
went over to
this day. They still follow this horse. So now we have another one with Mark, and that's Exalting. So Sarah, you gave out your picks.
And I picked the 5 as well.
Okay, let's go to Mark right here on this race because I'm really.
You guys do realize, as you obsess over these mere starter allowance wonders, there was a Queen's Plate winner in this race. You guys get this? Do you know this? Please turn your workbooks to Mighty Heart the 5.
Mighty Heart, I know, yeah.
And put your masks on. No, I'm not going
Sarah
there.
Picked the 5.
I'm not going there.
She just picked the 5.
I'm not going there. AJ, are you still in the frame?
Busy
do you
taking
need me for something?
What's the
I don't know. You started talking, so I
what's the
number 5 Mighty Heart is a
Queen's
Queen's Plate winner. You know what? Just a little behind the scenes tidbit for you guys. In a racing office, we kind of feel like if the Derby could talk, it would say to the governors, Mom and Dad always liked you better, because this is our pet. We have elevated this race from just the secondary or 3rd-tier stakes to graded status. And we are really, really proud about that. And incidentally, Mr. Dennis Trusty, if you can type in the name of the only horse to have completed the Derby Governor Double, I'll send you some kind of prize and pay for it out of my own pocket.
There you go. Don't.
I'm going to give you a couple of minutes.
Dennis Trusty not knowing that.
And I'm going to spout it forth. It has happened one time before, and that's relating to Colonel's dark temper. As far as Mighty Heart goes, Mighty Heart won the Queen's Plate in front-running fashion, and then proved that he can stalk. This horse is so versatile, and showed his dirt wares to take the blame for 150K at Churchill Downs. Did Mighty Heart. Mighty Heart beat the morning line favorite Sprawl in the process there. It was going a mile and an eighth, and I think Mighty Heart, with a synthetic record, maybe has more stamina for a 9-furlong trek than does Sprawl. I think a mile and a 16th might be a little more up Sprawl's alley. Interesting to note that stateside, they were a little bit skeptical of Mighty Heart, the mighty Queen's Plate winner, because Mighty Heart was almost 10-1 when taking the measure of Sprawl, when Sprawl ended up 3rd there. Sprawl was coming off the big confidence builder at Churchill Downs. Most of Sprawl's better races have been under the Twin Spires, which makes me wonder if this horse might be kind of a Churchill Downs horse for course, or if he's finally come into his own since that confidence building, very fast allowance win at Churchill Downs. I do think that Sprawl went career in his last race. I think he may have stepped his game up to a whole new level, which could be trouble for his foes here, because he went out, he fights for the lead. I think 9 furlongs is a little bit too far for him. And he was in super tough with that winner. I think the winner is 7 for 8 or 8 for 9. I looked him up, and his only loss was his favorite in the big cap, the Santa Anita handicap. So he's coming way down in class from that grade 2, is the one-horse Sprawl. I would expect he gets a send job from the inside here. And I think you were right there, Randy. There could be some other speed that shows up for this. The 5 Mighty Heart could be alert. Maybe one of the starter horses gets a send, more likely. Exalting, I would say, than Colonel's Dark Temper. The pace doesn't look ferocious to me. I think Sprawl's last race might set him just nominally above the rest of this field. Moving down to the lineup, Colonel's Dark Temper, who does try for the double, who took the Derby a couple of years back. I don't recall that as one of our stronger Derbies. Colonel's Dark Temper, after that Derby win, took one of his next 25 or 26 races. You talk about sinking down into the doldrums. What an extended slump that was. And then finds there's life after the West Virginia Derby when he gets claimed by Joe Sharp. Now, I wouldn't get too enthused because those are starter allowance wins in his last couple of races. And his buyer that would be competitive here, his only buyer that would compete here, came in just his second win in his last 26 starts. It looks to me like he controlled a very pedestrian pace 2 times back. So Colonel's Dark Temper, despite the sentimental allure, with a horse that took our West Virginia Derby, I'm not sure I consider him a primetime player here or an absolute top-tier contender. Exalting, I mentioned, was second to a reliable, more reliable than sexy horse last, but a smaller stakes, so less moneyed stakes at Indy. So I'm a little skeptical of him as well. Bourbon Calling, I think I went too low on the morning line. I would make him a fringe player, maybe at best. I'm not sure he's a now horse. He's only run once since last November as Bourbon Calling. Plus, he has never won it around. He took a 2-turn job at Charlestown going 7/8. That's not quite a mile and a 16th against this caliber of competition. So I'm going to boil it down to a rematch between Sprawl and Mighty Heart. I think that's really what the race is about. And of the 2 starter allowance horses, I would give Exalting the better chance over Colonel's Dark Temper.
All right. Yeah. All right. So Mark going straight chalk there because he does make the, his line there, but he's going straight chalk. And AJ, I'd like you to let us know who's riding Mighty Heart. You know? What's his name?
Fukumoto.
What?
What is
Fukumoto.
It used to be fuck you, Moto.
Fuck you, Moto.
Okay.
Coming down from Woodbine.
One of AJ's favorite jockeys.
People, stand politically correct here. Stand politically correct here.
It's the old Motorola
Me, Mark Patterson,
opening.
Ever politically correct.
Mark, 2 weeks ago, he pronounced a horse by anal Arab. He called the horse.
Z anal Arab.
Z anal Arab. You said anal Arab.
It's like French.
Yeah.
Z anal Arab.
Anal Arab.
Yeah.
Ooh, scratched. But
it's not unpolitically correct if he doesn't know how to pronounce things. It's just funny. I mean, okay. All right.
Fuck you, Moto.
I will need several more of these to discuss that at length with you, sir.
It's
we
going
should just stay
already.
on to see what Mark does when he gets a few more in him.
I know. I'm a little disappointed that Mark's a little sober on this show so far. That's all right.
We'll get in there.
Well, when you drink out of a cup that's half the size of your hand, I feel like it takes you a while.
Sarah Clown, when I have a couple too many, which is not often, I have this thing where I get more talkative. I don't let anybody else sound in, and I think I know it all. Come to think of it, how is inebriated Mark much different from sober Mark?
Oh man!
So you're like
I
me
want
and
that
AJ.
Mark. I think there should be an AJ and Mark where we both get inebriated and see what happens.
Shot for shot, like just do it. No,
that's
I'll have to be on.
Bad
referee.
news written all over that.
It does take a lot. It really takes a lot. When I was
well, apparently
you start at noon, I start at 5, and we get on.
When I was
we come on live at 6.
When I was a whole lot younger, AJ, I had a date with a winsome young lady, and she had this twisted desire to see me drunk. Okay. Just I don't know why. She just wanted to. I'm not sure she had dishonorable intentions. I'm not going there at all. But anyway, I remember this. I had 12 beers. she was drinking Kahlua and cream. I had like 6 of those and about 5 shots of bourbon. And when I was standing up from the table, my left leg got a little shaky. And I thought, I'm not going to walk out of here like some drunk. It's not happening. So I straightened myself up and I left. It takes a lot.
See, I've been in that same situation multiple times where a lady wants to see me drunk many times, and I always end up with a lot less money in my wallet every single time.
Huh.
Yeah, welcome to Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only in LA.
One time on the show, Nancy and I, my former co-host, we had a fan or somebody that was coming in on the big day on West Virginia Derby Day and kept handing us, man, can I even say this in public?
Yeah.
We didn't know they were shots of alcohol. Shame on that fan. Shame on that fan. Shame on you. So we just keep downing them. And it got a little dicey.
Because you don't know what
time.
alcohol you're drinking, Mark?
Wait,
it got a little dicey.
When do you take a shot of something and not know it's alcohol?
We did not know.
Like, oh, so like, hey, take this shot of grape juice. Like, why?
That is my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Why would you not know?
No one's believing.
I can tell you, neither one of us had the Derby winner.
Let's go on to the Derby.
Speaking of the Derby, let's move on. We got race 8. It is the Grade 3 West Virginia Derby. Mile 8 on the dirt, $500,000 here. This is for 3-year-olds. AJ, are you going to take your horse from the
I have a big bone to pick with Mr. Mark Patterson, the morning lines maker of Mountaineer here.
You're going to quibble. Now,
I think it's
Stop the bus.
Whoa. No.
You're going to quibble with my morning line.
Yes, I am.
Good sir.
I think
you know how many morning lines I've done?
It is absolutely
Hold
insulting and a crime.
Stop the bus, please. How many morning lines have you done, AJ? I've done 40,000.
Okay. Well, you were wrong
That's
today.
40,000.
You were wrong this Saturday.
With a comma and 3 zeros. My good man.
You just got scoreboarded, AJ. Uh-oh.
It is absolutely insulting
and
a crime that the number 1 Bourbonic is what, 3-1 is all the respect you gave this horse.
You have got to be
I
joking.
picked on live internet TV to be the 72-1 winner of the Wood Memorial. And all she's done is compete against the best of the best in 3-year-olds in the Belmont Stakes and the Kentucky Derby. And you don't think this horse is the favorite in this race? Mark,
competed? What's competitive about those lines, those efforts, AJ? Please help me out here.
This horse
trails by 15.
I gotta put
finishes 13th, trails by 16.
I did that for effect. And okay.
And the horse's win was bogus.
What, the Belmont
the horse's
and the Kentucky
win
Derby?
Bogus.
Where have these other bums raced, Mark? They weren't in the Belmont. They weren't in the Kentucky Derby. Where have these bums raced? Nowhere.
Do you call that racing? What Bourbonic did the last 2 times?
Again,
wow.
Call that
the
racing,
best of 3-year-old competition. Where did what?
Maybe the greatest comment of all time.
Kinetic Sky, where did he go? Oh, an allowance race at Churchill Downs. Where did Mr. Wireless? Oh, Indiana Derby. Are you shitting me, Mark? Are you shitting me? Oh, and then Warrant, Lone Star Park.
I will correct.
Oh yeah, they ran
against
the best of the best. Bourbonic should be the absolute favorite in this race, and there's no doubt about it.
I didn't play Bourbonic, so I can't say anything.
Sharp guys. Sharp guys have an acronym: RIP, Reputation Induced Phenomenon, and I will be brief here, AJ. What it means is name horses get over bet, and in this case, $2 on Bourbonic would mean over bet.
Look, Mark, I want to thank you for the amount of money I'm going to win on that one horse come Saturday. Because you put in that.
Let's be really clear here.
Absolutely.
Let's be really clear here, AJ.
It's criminal.
Are you telling me?
You should be thrown in jail for defrauding the public, Mark.
Are you telling me? And by the way, AJ, a statistical study was undertaken, an objective one, and I was ranked the 12th most accurate lines maker in America. America's a big country.
There's 11.
I realize you live in your dad's basement, but America's a big country. Get out and see it.
The 11 other, all the other people were tied for 1 through 10. He didn't tell you that though.
Okay, AJ, let's be very specific here because I feel a wager of brewing. Are you telling me Bourbonic's going to be the favorite, the post-time favorite in this race?
I'm not saying he should be the post-time favorite.
I'm
saying he is the favorite.
Can I take that bet? He will be the favorite. He will be.
I will.
My man rants, but won't back it up.
100%, he will be the post-time favorite.
He will be the post-time favorite.
No one's looking at those VPs, Mark, and thinking that he's
not going to
be the post-time favorite.
Do you feel okay?
Not if anybody listened to the show and AJ picked him.
And what is he? And what will he be favored based on, AJ? Please help me with it.
Okay,
we're talking about Bourbonic here.
Oh, we're talking about a 3-year-old race, the only horse that's been in the top 3-year-old races all year long and won the Wood Memorial going into that.
That's funny. I thought he lost contact in those races. You said he was in them.
He was in them, yes.
I can't wait. I will wait my turn.
No.
Okay,
no,
so you're going to disallow a horse based off the Kentucky Derby and Belmont. The Belmont, obviously, again, the Wood Memorial was ran at this distance, was it not? Was it not?
That's enough, please.
Well, okay. Let me just say.
Okay. Can I jump forward in line here?
Well, I'm just in a second. But I do want to say, I do think you hit on something, and I will say, when you asked if he will be the post-time favorite, I do think he will be because there's a lot of people out there like what AJ's saying. I'm not saying he should be, Mark. I'm saying you don't think he'll be money.
No, I do not. Do not underestimate the knowledgeability or sophistication of modern horse players, Randy. Okay. They ain't stupid. They're not going to be sucked in on a horse just because he trailed by 50 lengths in the freaking Belmont Stakes.
I'm curious to see that because I do think there's
okay. Let me go a little deeper into this. Can we kill AJ's mic?
You go next. You go next. Let me.
When I don't see that light on his mic, I'll start to talk. Bourbonic doesn't fit the profile of a West Virginia Derby winner. Now, for the longest time, an absolute must, an absolute prerequisite to success in the West Virginia Derby was a complete absence of Triple Crown activity. I'm going to repeat that again for you guys. Horses that had gone through the drudgery of the Triple Crown Trail were the worst bets imaginable in the West Virginia Derby for obvious reasons. Our Derby is about, and has been about forever, now horses whose connections never dreamed of grandeur, but in a very cold, lethal manner, pointed horses, improving horses to peak, to run career in our West Virginia Derby. The horses that take our race, our big stakes, are almost invariably horses for whom our purse is the be-all, the end-all, the big goal, the summit, the pinnacle of their season. AJ, live it, learn it, know it. I had a statistic one time to back it up, and from like 9 or 10 straight Derby winners, you could comb through their forms and find a grand total of two Triple Crown efforts. So to have a horse up to the Triple Crown races is definitely a negative a little later in the season when they come here in August. Because you're looking for an improving pattern, a horse who's going to peak, who's going to go career on Derby Day here. Not a horse who peaked 3 or 4 months ago and is still in action. And I think to say Bourbonic is still in action might be a kindness to characterize that. A ton of respect for Todd Pletcher, who's going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, I think, in a day or two, correct? Much respect for Todd Pletcher. He has won our race, but not with the likes of Bourbonic. And I'm going to break him down here. I'm going to break the horse's Wood Memorial down. His Wood Memorial was slow. His Wood Memorial was slow to begin with a sub-90 buyer. It played strongly in favor of closers because deep closers ran second and third. So they were playing Bourbonic's song up front there for whatever reason, AJ. The race caters to deep closers. Okay. And I'm going to tell you something else. I think the 2-3 finishers were mere one-time career winners. So I could not grade that Wood Memorial low enough. Meaningless to me. And if it means Bourbonic's going to attract some support in our Derby, so much the better, because sharp players are going to see value in some now horses, some horses that have been pointed specifically for our race. If you pull up the comments and the chart on Bourbonic, I think this is something like raced along, loped along, detached, just going his own merry way, detached from the field. There's not a thing about this horse I like. There's not one aspect of a winning West Virginia Derby profile that he conforms to. I can't wait to go against him, to select against Bourbonic.
So who are you selecting against Bourbonic?
You know what? Since this is the Derby, why don't you guys go ahead and talk a little bit, and then I'll sound in on every horse. This is the Derby.
Can I please?
Yeah, let's go through the whole field, AJ.
You have 20 seconds.
I don't want to go through the field. I want to talk about how you said the Wood Memorial didn't produce a winner. I believe Dynamic One that we lost in that Wood Memorial did win a stakes race at Saratoga. I don't know, about 5-6 days ago.
I didn't say it didn't produce a winner. I said it was an extremely slow race that
same horse we
in favor of deep closers.
The same horse we talked about winning this race the last race ago. Also, he wasn't good enough to compete in the Kentucky Derby. He had to go to the Pat Day Mile, like the likes of Vertical Threat, who we've seen also is pretty bad.
When a horse that closes from 15 lengths out of it, I'm going to assume your theory is he outclasses this field, correct?
Okay. Let's
answer a question briefly. I got a simple question for you, my man.
Wait. Okay. There is no hot pace here that I believe
no. Let's be class specific here.
Okay.
Let's be class specific.
Yes.
When a horse
outclasses these bums.
When a horse that loses contact early with the field, presumably quote unquote outclasses the field. Exactly how do they convey that? Does the jockey yell up? Does he raise his voice and yell 20 lengths ahead? Hey, don't forget, I outclass you. Is that how it works?
No, I believe it's when all the horses.
How do you outclass anybody from
who
30
aren't
lengths
as good, and the horse comes from behind because they are all bums again, like I said.
Oh boy.
This field is full of.
Let me ask you this, AJ.
You keep taking short odds on deep closers, AJ.
So AJ, what do you think?
I will take your short odds that you gave
got my number. You can ask for a loan. I'll support you a bit.
All right, let's not talk over
each other. I can't wait to make a killing off of this race.
Okay.
I cannot wait.
Time out, guys.
Okay. Now let's talk about some horses that actually figure to contend here, please.
AJ,
can we do this?
Are you singling Bourbonic?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Randy,
there's no other horse that. Why would you single anybody else?
Moving on from Bourbonic.
So what I'm going to play is
just run through real quick.
I see this one horse and he's so outclassing the. No, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. I'm going to go with the 5. I'm going to go with Warrant here, and I just like the line that just like Ali, he got beat by Frazier, and that's going to be my angle. But in all seriousness, he beat Mr. Wireless. Giroux jumps on this horse that I did see that, and he was on, I believe, Kinetic Sky before, right? Yep. He jumps over. I think this horse is where it's at. I don't understand why, Mark, that this horse isn't favored over the other horse. I could see this going back and forth, probably in your head even.
Randy,
Wireless.
You do realize that you wear different hats. When you handicap, it's one hat. When you do a morning line, you're not predicting what the horses are going to do. Yeah, you're predicting what the public's going to do.
Yeah, I know. We actually,
Okay, so please, let's detach my opinion of the race from my role as lines maker.
But that's kind of, okay, that's fine. But Warrant, I saw as being like, I thought this would be the chalk, honestly. I like Warrant. Mr. Wireless is good, but I'm going to go with Warrant here. And the 3, Bourbon Thunder, got beat by Sarah's horse, Dak Daniels, who ran a hell of a race and wasn't far off at Saratoga. And I think this horse is running really well at this time. And that's a puncher's chance. I mean, but I really, really like Warrant here. I like the 5 here a lot. I think the 5 is Brad Cox and Giroux. I think they know something here. I think this is the horse to beat. I really, really like the 5, but I'll throw in the 3 Bourbon Thunder. Because, I mean, if you throw out the last two that he didn't get beat bad by at Saratoga and Churchill Downs, I mean, I don't think this horse is far off at all. And it could be peaking at the right time with the 3 Bourbon Thunder. So I'm going to go 5-3, 3-5.
All right. I did 4-5. I'm interested to see Mr. Wireless and Warrant battle against each other again. They did 2 races ago in which Mr. Wireless was bumped. I think if he wasn't bumped and didn't push him off, he only lost by 3/4 of a length. So he had a shot of possibly winning that, but he did get bumped there.
So there is intelligent life in a clown seat here.
I know. Nothing crazy. I went 4-5. Nothing crazy. But Mark, before we get into the rest of your opinion on this race, we do have a question from Dennis. He has 2 questions in regards to the 7 here. How did he even really get into this race, and how are his morning line odds not 99?
I actually saw that and thought the same thing. So that's a good question.
Dennis, 50-1 is just about as high as I go. I've never gone 99-1 on a morning line. I suppose I could, but there's a certain aesthetic to it all. So I'm not trying to snow anybody that the horse has any chance whatsoever. And, I don't want to go there this quickly on American, but you know what? I absolutely just detest when somebody does this. We've had it done before. Somebody that wants their face in the spotlight, wants to see their colors in the West Virginia Derby. And it's not always for a second. It's not always harmless. Okay, technically, we can strongly advise them not to do it, but legally, we have got to accept the entry. We almost have to accept the entry. Okay, now I will say this. It's not completely harmless. Okay, because we had a horse that had absolutely no chance several years back going to Governors. Local trainer, stars in his eyes. The horse wasn't even good for 5,000. He goes in there, okay, and he is 99-1. It's a bad look for the Governors. It's a bad look for him. It's a bad look for all involved. Forget the silly Cinderella stories or illusions of grandeur. We've had people that enter horses like this claim to have dreamt the horse won the West Virginia Derby. The truth is, it's not good, because what happened in this Governors I'm talking about, the local horse at 99-1 breaks sideways, takes the favorite out. Okay, the favorite runs a fast closing second by 3/4 of a length. So the upstart horse, the no chance horse, the horse selfishly entered by local connections, cost the best horse the Governor's Cup. The Governor's Cup. The only positive about American in here is he will drop back so fast, and he is drawn on the outside, which minimizes the chances that he can bump an actual contestant, an actual real contender coming out of the gate. He'll be going his merry way. Please don't ever start the Forrest Gump stuff with me. He's the Forrest Gump of entrance here. I don't like it. I'm probably being too candid here. I could tell more and more stories about these things happening in the past. Unfortunately, it goes with the territory. We had a trainer, and I know we're going to run over here because I want to talk and get in depth about some of these other contestants in the Derby. We had a trainer one time, since you do ask, Dennis, who claimed to have dreamt that one of her maidens, a 7-year-old maiden, wasn't even eligible to be nominated for the race, had won the West Virginia Derby. Finally nominated an unstarted 3-year-old who would work the half mile in 56 and would send us letters and emails and call us on the phone and harass and hound us ad infinitum with no end about her right to go in the race. I never could quite figure out if she was messing with us or actually intended, had she been permitted to enter a first-time starter who had worked a half mile in 56 in the West Virginia Derby. It's never easy to deal with behind the scenes, but I don't like it. Nobody in the racing department likes it. And I'm being really blunt with you.
Well, they used to do that, Mark, I believe, like in the Derby before the point system. People would buy their way in just to be leading the Derby, and they'd like put a quarter.
Well, the KSR race over Phil's, Randy, a horse like this would never get a sniff, even if the also eligible list, because we have preference clauses in there. Graded stakes winners first preference. Top earners in a specified period of time second preference. Yeah. I mean, this would not happen unless the race underfilled.
Yeah, that does. It is true. And it's like, oh, I just want to hear go out to the lead.
But to fill the race,
my horse was leading the West Virginia Derby and then ran last by 60 lengths. And
you've talked about that with Kentucky a lot.
This is not a $5,000 two-lifer. It's not like anybody called or tried to fill the race.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm saying
this guy.
Calls, like you send your horse that has no.
Well, if you're a local trainer,
you know what? This is more publicity. We should give that guy. Who's a nice guy, by the way. Who's a good guy and works very hard. So I'm not knocking the connections here at all. But I'm knocking the horse. I don't like it. Nobody in the racing department likes it. And you know what? That's too much publicity for the horse.
Is it like a young trainer, like a upstart?
You know what? Let's go to some other.
So everybody out there, bet the 7.
Yeah, I'm taking him now.
He's actually talking about Bourbonic.
God, don't start that
too.
He's actually talking about the one Bourbonic has no business being there. So,
Bourbonic will beat Americane. I'll give you that much, AJ.
Bourbonic going to beat the whole field.
If somebody offers you that prop bet horse for horse, you take it, fella.
I will take Bourbonic over anybody in this field.
Okay,
every day, all day, every day.
Okay. All right, let's
talk about these horses.
3 to 1.
Let's talk about the horses, Mark.
3 to 1, Mark. What were you thinking?
The West Virginia Derby. Let's go through them all. We need to talk about the one.
Chart. I'm going to take the chart with official closing odds, and I'm going to mail it to you, AJ. With my compliments.
I will send you my address.
And I'm going to put a big circle around the closing odds on Bourbonic.
I will tell you.
Yeah, but listen, the corrections officers
You're gonna feel like a real a-hole when you send that to me and Bourbonic wins.
All right, let's go.
I'm going to go in order here, guys, because this is the big one. Kinetic Sky is the other Cox horse. Kinetic Sky's 2 wins, both found him favored. He's not going to be favored here. It would take a breakout effort for him to even compete with some of these horses. Much respect for Brad Cox, who's the guy now, who was the man. But I suspect Kinetic, who does have a good turn of tactical speed, which is always invaluable in our Derby, was entered just as a hedge in case the race came up super, super soft. I think that could be the case more than some expectation of some massive improvement. From a horse who was only taking the first allowance condition, in fact, and took 4 tries to pull that off. Moving on down, Bourbon Thunder. Bourbon Thunder is 2 wins. One of them was a maiden claimer, and don't talk Cinderella story, please, to me. And the other was a starter allowance race. A really good horseman, but doesn't seem to do all that well in graded stakes affairs. Deshaun Parker, you guys know that he ruled the rooster for a long time. He knows every inch of the mountain main. And I think once or twice led the nation in number of wins. Parker has never taken the big one, though. And I'm sure would love to in the worst way, but I don't think he's got the vehicle here, guys, in Bourbon Thunder. Mr. Wireless, I think, is the likeliest winner in here. And I think will probably be favored over Warrant. I think they'll be the first 2 favorites in one or the other. Mr. Wireless, I talked about the profile for a Derby winner a little bit earlier, and he is just a spot-on, bang-on fit for the Derby profile. He avoided the Triple Crown Trail. He is a now horse who is just coming to hand specifically for this race. And Brett Calhoun, who won this race the last time that it was contested in 2019, we were out of action last year because of COVID. You guys know that. Brett Calhoun won it with a horse named Mr. Money 2 years back. Mr. Money had also just won the Grade 3 Indiana Derby. He used that as a springboard to an emphatic win in our West Virginia Derby, and even had a similar running style to Mr. Wireless. Not an lead type, but a horse who went out there and pressed hard when whoever did get the lead. So a lot of similarities and an almost perfect pattern match for Mr. Money and Mr. Wireless. When Mr. Wireless was beaten by Warrant 2 back, Mr. Wireless missed the break just a bit, just half a beat. I'm not saying it cost him the race, but I do think he has moved forward since then, Mr. Wireless. I think he wants to be closer to the pace than he was when Warrant beat him. And I think that opportunity looms here because I don't see a fast tempo at all in this West Virginia Derby. I'm going to put a little knock on the Texas Derby, the big matchup between Mr. Wireless and Warrant, because it was not quick come home time. Somebody broke loose from the field on the far turn, carried a big lead to the quarter pole, and then just collapsed, just stepped off the racetrack. And you know what? It was slow from the pace call to the mile marker there, which I think is a criticism of the race. Mr. Wireless came back in his next and answered the finishing power question for me in a big, big way, because Mr. Wireless, who did bobble at the start, you can take that verbatim. He did bobble. It did cost him. I watched the video on it last night. It does not mention that he was 3 wide into the first turn and had to be hustled a little bit. So just little nicks and cuts like that on his trip, I think, make the win even more impressive. And he answered the stamina question for me because he went from the 6 call to the mile call in 24-1. And that's a racehorse. That is a big-time finish. What this horse showed is that if he sets or attends, the kind of soft pace that I think is probably in the works here for the West Virginia Derby, he can finish very, very strongly. Mr. Wireless, I think he will be favored here. And I think he's the most probable winner. When we get to Warrant, go down to the 5-horse Warrant, I wouldn't be shocked to see him go off the post-time favorite. And he's got a big, big chance, Warrant. Brad Cox is filthy rich in 3-year-old talent. We're talking about the Kentucky Derby by disqualification via bad test eventually. And we're talking about the Haskell by outright disqualification. We're talking about the Belmont Stakes. He also won. So this guy is just rich in 3-year-olds, makes all the right moves. He's not only good, he's not only supremely talented. Check him out, almost 30% in graded stakes, which is almost unfathomable. But he's lucky too. Look at all the things that have, all the good things that have befallen his stock this year with all the disqualifications. So Warrant is clearly his second or third tier 3-year-old. I think that is pretty obvious. Warrant was wide and closed from well back to win at Lone Star last time. I think he can be a little bit more tactical than that, but he did run down Mr. Wireless. I'll give him that. He's been away, though, since May the 31st, and I think Cox himself is on record, and he's a really good guy behind the scenes. He's really forthcoming and easy to deal with, Brad Cox, so down to earth. I think he is on record that Source needed a freshening after that race. You know what? For me, that could almost be a red flag. Because I went back today. I went into the office, into the dungeon. I looked up the last maybe 20 West Virginia Derby winners, and I was hard-pressed to find one who had been away this long, which is almost 10 weeks for Warrant. You know what? About a month and a half is the longest respite I could find for a West Virginia Derby winner. And in fact, most of them are just hot off the presses, right back into action in about 3 or 3.5 weeks, which once again fits the winning profile of the West Virginia Derby, because we're talking about improving horses, emerging horses, now horses. They're kicking the barn down and want action. And they're coming back on a fairly quick turnaround. Warrant did work very quickly since his last race. Maybe that allays some fears about the break since May 31st. And you know what? So many things can be taken in reverse nowadays in thoroughbred racing. I checked him out on Formulator, and I narrowed it down to horses in graded stakes from Brad Cox that had been away roughly the same time frame, 8 to 12 weeks. And surprise, surprise, the guy's 26% for a 30% flat bet profit. So he is supremely skilled at winning graded stakes races with horses off a similar period as Warrant. But it does still concern me. And I think Mr. Wireless has taken a step forward since he beat Warrant last time. He has got more speed than Warrant, and I think that makes him a likelier winner of the pair. I want to mention a long shot there, and it's not American. Number 6, Channel Fury. I didn't hear any of you guys talk about this horse. I would not dismiss him as a mere minor track freak because he's got the Thistledown form. For one thing, James Jackson has a long history of winning races about there and doesn't normally run his horses out of line. He would not be in here unless he thought Channel Fury had a chance. I think Channel Fury has a chance. Channel Fury blew through his non-life conditions. First is a one-dimensional speed, and then I think it's intriguing that he learned to win from behind there on May 24th. And he comes back in the Ohio Derby, and you might dismiss that as a totally failed class test. They outran him. But I would also mention that Channel Fury was wide into the first turn, and Channel Fury had trouble there at the 7/8 pole. He is as close to a pure front-running style as I think you're going to find in this race. And that 88 Beyer speed fig was career for him, almost competitive with some of the key players in this West Virginia Derby. And I think might answer the question as to class and distance aptitude. Those would be the issues with Channel Fury. Is he really a stakes horse? And can he really get a big boy distance of ground? I think the answer might be affirmative. in both cases. And I think you can read that between the lines from his long shot effort in the Ohio Derby. And he came back, and I know he loses at 4-5, but those were veterans. Those were older horses. And I know the winner of that very well, Woodland Walk. He is stakes placed. He's a really good horse. And a grizzled veteran who probably brought 15 or 20 wins to the table in that race. So maybe some camouflage improvement from Channel Fury there, even though he was beaten as the 5-2 favorite. I look for a big race from him. I look for a theft attempt. I'm going to be real clear about this. And I don't think the lead's going to come at a very high cost. So he is a long shot I would definitely look at in this 51st running of the West Virginia Derby.
Yeah, I actually looked with
Channel What do you guys think about Channel Fury?
I think he's going to go to lead. And I think, if especially if it's an off track, I think he could do it. And I mean, if you want to talk about the whole class thing, I mean, King Fury is running in the Saratoga Derby this weekend on turf. And keep me in mind, we all know that horse, and he wasn't that far off of those horses. So we want to talk about that. And those are, King Fury was a, quote unquote, because he scratched though, was a Derby horse that people were taking. So
when a horse is outclassed like that, at the time he certainly was, Randy, and still runs a career Byrd number, man, that is a sign of impending improvement. Yeah. Especially if you're talking about a front runner. And obviously needs a lead going on a race this long, then it's doubly impressive because he was outfooted there.
Well, and I did see that mile he ran in the slop where he ran pretty well, which could be a factor if it is raining there. So I think that could be something to look at. I think he will be played. I think he's going to be, I don't want to say the sexy pick there because I think, I definitely think
I think he could be the wise guy selection.
Yeah, exactly. The sexy pick. Yeah.
You know what? I felt kind of funny going as low as 10-1 on him. The more I looked, the more I thought maybe should have won 8-1 on Channel Fury because I think the public's going to pick up on a potential lone F trip and maybe read some of the things that I did into his Ohio Derby try.
Yeah. All right. So before we go into the last one, we have a question from Deacon Mike, and it's Mark. So you think the main races will favor closers?
I thought the track was fair last week, Mike. I did bias notes today just in anticipation of our Derby. And I think it's going to play fair because it has been playing fair. What can happen sometimes on the Mountain Main? We'll run afternoon, and it's our only afternoon card of this season. They have a hard time keeping enough water on it if it's hot and dry. And I think we're going to be high 80s on Derby Day. And when they can't keep enough water on it, which is a little easier to do when they have all afternoon and maybe gets a little cooler come post time at 7 o'clock, water can be a binding agent, can give more bounce to the surface, and it's less cuppy and maybe a little bit more conducive to speed. We have seen West Virginia Derbies, maybe more than we should have, that found the rail dead for our big day. That's not because the track maintenance crew doesn't care, because they don't try to combat it. But the simple reason is it's really hard to keep enough water on the strip for an afternoon car with the sun beating down and the weather hot here in the northern panhandle. So I would be ever alert for a dead rail to maybe develop on Derby Day. But that kind of a path bias was not in evidence last week. The track was fast all week. And I didn't see much of a running style bias either.
Yeah. Hey, AJ, are we boring you that you're doing your nails right now? I'm just wondering.
Did you?
I'm sorry. Is Mark talking about horses that aren't going to win the West Virginia Derby?
He's dreaming about Bourbon. He's dreaming about Bourbon.
Oh, okay.
He was baiting us the whole time. And I fed into it. I shouldn't have fed into it.
Incidentally, I would also add, guys, that the track profile at Mountaineer is strongly speed favoring in sprints. But at a distance of ground, it falls about in line with the national averages with the way it breaks down the various running styles.
All right. Well, that's interesting. All right. So there you go. Let's move on to the last race, which I'll tell you, I barely looked at because I just got frustrated and I didn't care very much at that point.
You got something to say about the morning line here, AJ, for the night race?
Get
over. Please. Take your time, my man.
Oh, man.
All right, let's.
I got so much to say about everything you do, but yeah, no, I think this is pretty good.
Here, the race 9.
Honestly, you're in line to make me money, which is awesome. Like I thank you for that, Mark.
Okay, let's go to race 9, AJ.
Yeah, I got 7.
I hope they know what I'm talking about when I say, man, I wish Rafi and Dr. Fager could actually mix it up right now.
Mark's gonna regret ever saying.
You know, we got more hits on that
I'm
video
his
than any
favorite.
other match races. You know that, my man?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we killed it.
We staged a spirited debate.
Okay. Let's. Everybody out there probably wants.
I think we far outpaced the other match races.
Right now, we'll take
for a number of views.
Take Mr. Wireless and you'll give him. How about this, AJ? You give Mark Mr. Wireless and Warrant against Bourbonic.
Why would I take
Bourbonic? No. I will take Mr. Wireless against Bourbonic, horse for horse.
Okay, horse for horse.
100%.
And according to AJ, I'm giving him the favorite.
What's the wager?
Which is not going to happen.
The favorite that you made.
Okay, let's go. AJ, what's the wager?
Oh, we're gonna do the same thing again?
No, we're gonna do the wager. Quick.
All right.
Before we get onto it. Well, what's the wager?
What? Yeah.
Okay, you want to make it up? If Bourbonic beats Mr. Wireless, if Bourbonic beats Mr. Wireless, AJ gets to go on the show with you and just agree with everything you say, Mark.
Or disagree.
No.
Well, I'm good at nodding my head, so if you need someone to do that, I'm pretty good.
Or do we have any gear?
And if Mr. Wireless beats Bourbonic, since you guys are the Triple Clowns, AJ for 1 week has to actually wear a clown mask on the show.
Oh shit!
All right,
Yeah.
that sounds
Right.
great.
Okay, 100%. I'm in.
You got to deal with that.
All right, sounds good to me. You guys heard it out there. There it is. There you go. All right, so that's the bet, and and there's no being like you're not going to come on that week either. Straight up, doink the clown mask.
I will do what I have to do to get a doink the clown mask.
Well, I'm not going to say I never try to. Randy, don't be offended, my man. I won't say I never try to picture Sarah in clown makeup. But as far as AJ goes, no, that's not the alert.
Yeah, I'm too handsome.
I want to shame my man.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, no, trust me, Sarah, no makeup. Ooh.
Wow.
It's pretty bad. I've seen it.
Let's go to the last race.
Anyway, the last race that we're going to talk about.
Last race here. It doesn't matter.
The last race here, AJ. Who you got in the last race?
Yeah, who do you got race night here? We
No,
got
last race.
Furlongs on the turf.
No, I've got the two here. Coming off of the first, maybe second, trip on the turf was at Arlington. Looked pretty decent. I like the second outing here that Hubbley's gonna make. 5-2 does seem a little low, Mark, but whatever. I'm on board. So
what's this guy?
I don't know.
Does seem a little Mark. Does seem a little low, Mark, but whatever. I agree. I'm gonna pick it, Mark. God damn. I mean, I'm picking your second favorite.
Racetracks in America, AJ. To be
Jesus, Mark. I'm gonna go with Mark's favorite too. God, back off.
That's what I have.
The 8 on Brilliant. So, with the single last race, I got 3 here. Here's what I don't get, Mark. And it makes me a little nervous. The fact that you put this horse at 10-1 is the 3 B Wings. Out of all the horses in this race, it's hard to really single in on a horse that you think can be like, okay, that's the guy. The 3 who has been pretty competitive here at Mountaineer in high stakes level allowance races, whether they be at a mile or 4.5. I think this horse 7, might be right around where it's at, especially going up back off what it did in June, just coming off of a length and 3/4. I think this is kind of where this horse needs to be at, and I think given a little bit extra time, this 4-year-old 10-1, I really like that.
We got Parker coming back home again. He didn't ride here regularly anymore, but won a lot of races, no question about that. And Byrd, friend of mine, Byrd and Degen, does use Parker there on B Wings. I think Wings is one of the local grass. I don't think there's a lot of that in here, so it could be the horse for a course. Maybe I'm trying to be kind to you, AJ.
Yeah,
I want to be boys again.
Have to be. You don't have to.
Well, okay. Let me put it like this. Please stick around after we're done assessing this 9th race, guys, because AJ is going to give a brief lecture on how to factor dime breakage, respective mutual take at various racetracks and field size into a well-balanced morning line.
Don't waste your time. He's not going to listen. I mean,
not at all.
He doesn't listen.
I mean, did you watch me mute my mic and
if
trim my
everybody
fingernails?
Wants to learn, then they can. But he's not gonna listen. Yeah. But Edgy just jumped on me because I like the 2 favorites as well, and I do like the 3. And I'm not going to complain about the line because I do understand the line. But that's what makes it great because that's like a puncher's chance with all those little angles that.
But it's fun to make fun of the guy who makes it while he's on the show.
We the morning line. I mean, in all sincerity, the morning line is.
You're bad at it. We get it.
No, it's something. It's really thankless because if you make a bad miss, you're going to hear about it. But nobody ever says, "Man, you were spot on," in that race for the morning line. And it's something that every player thinks they can do better. Everybody thinks they're an expert odds maker.
Yeah,
and trust me, I deal with that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Like I tell everybody, I think everybody should, when you know enough, read the program. Don't read the morning line and make your own. And then you bet accordingly and move it according to the morning line.
Especially if it's Mark's morning line.
2 to 1.
Yeah,
and you have bet 10 to 1.
We know one thing I have been told by various players of the bridge jumping variety is that my line is so respected. It's a major simulcast centers and by some ADW. By some ADW companies that if I make a horse beneath a certain price point in the morning line, they will just automatically refuse show wagers.
Well, and I asked you this.
So there, AJ.
I asked you this before.
For those of you out there who don't know, ADW means advanced deposit wagering.
Very good.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well
good
said.
But I did say I always think that. Like if AJ made the morning line, there's no doubt in my mind that he would call me up and be like, "Hey, I'm putting this horse at 10 to 1 because he's going to win, and I'm going to bet like so much money on him." Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind that would happen. Is that correct, what? AJ? You would always
if I made the morning line,
like the horse, you would never give him a good morning line.
No, God, no. Yeah, no.
See, okay, so there it is. That's it. We already know where he's at. So.
Yeah, I get it. But it's fun to make fun of the guy who makes the morning line, Deacon Mike.
No, it's cool. No, I have I broad shoulders in that regard. I don't want to get into some esoteric discussion of my theories on how to do a proper morning line mathematically or in theory, policy, and they're expensive.
Hard job.
I've done a lot of them, and I do have some theories. Some personalized ideas.
Yeah, it is.
I would bore. I would bore the people that are going to watch this.
Well, Mark, I would say let's do a show one time of we'll just do that as a show, and we'll talk about how you do.
You know what would be really cool. You know, what would be really cool. Why don't you get a couple of guys that also do morning lines at their own tracks, and I'll come on with those guys. Yeah. And we'll kind of just knock it back and forth, some of our theories.
That'd be a great show.
Yeah. That would be really
He's basically saying you guys can't be on it.
Just Mark and David Aragona. Honestly, Mark, you do an awesome job most of the time until you put Bravonic at 3 to 1, which is just mind blowing. But other than that, you're really good.
Yeah.
AJ has made thousands of people right now really vote.
I still like him more than I do you guys. I still dig him more than I do you guys.
All right, so I'm going 138. By the way, I do like what AJ said. 138. I'm going to 2 trucks and I'm putting in the 3. If I went really deep, I would go probably 5 deep here, and I'd throw in the 5 as well. 5 deep, and I go 5 as well, and I go with the 1 as well. So I'd go 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 if I was going crazy. But I'm going to go just
138.
138 for me. Sarah, what about you?
All right. I went 2 deep. If I was going to go 3 deep, I would put the 3 in there. But I like the 2. Mary Prankster. I also like the 7 here, 15 to 1. I think this horse at 7 furlongs, he's coming back to 7 furlongs, which I think is the distance this horse will excel at. He is dropping in class, which I really think we're going to kind of see this horse start performing better and more. He's dropping in distance. I'm getting all tongue-tied here. I'm really interested to watch this horse race. He has raced at Mountaineer on the turf. At 7 furlongs, he didn't do that bad. So this is a horse I would definitely play in exotics. And at 15-1, I think it's a pretty good price to be playing in your exotics.
Todd Pledger's on the phone. He just actually texted me and said he's not running Bourbonic now after AJ made that stink. So
it feels like AJ cursed him. AJ put the pieces that thought of man.
All right, so you're going with a 15-1 shot there. All right, so what do you think, Mark, in this last race? What's going on with you with this?
You know what? I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't dig too much into the last race because, you know what, after all the hardcore analysis and a fine afternoon of intense top caliber horse racing, I think it's kind of unseemly if I get too much into the finale on a show, on the air. So I kind of blow it off usually so I can make the after party. Yeah. And boy, the tales I can tell. The tales I can tell about some of those after parties. I did look at it, though, and I think it is strictly a two-horse race, guys. Absolutely. A Mary Prankster, I think, has a big chance. A Mary Prankster, the two-horse. Mark Hubley is almost invincible when he runs horses here. And he targets maiden specials and non-life conditions, which traditionally are really ripe for the plucking for powerful invading stables because they can outclass the locals and they don't risk getting their horse claimed. A lot of times in undercard allowance races on Derby Day, some of the main outfits, some of the big guys that run in the Derby and the Governors will bring a tag along to run a race like this, but it has not been the case here in the finale. So it has more of a local flavor. So I think Hubley's record comes up heavily into play here. He's a very hard guy to beat in this kind of a race. Mary Prankster debuted well on the turf and certainly showed a turf foot. Mary Prankster showed a high turn of early speed to break maiden here. And you notice the second finisher had 10 lengths on the third horse, which is impressive. And that second finisher came back to wire at Indy. Mary Prankster over the turf last time at Arlington Park. And I don't know if this is going to build a price or anything, but Mary Prankster did fold up at 5.5 and tries to go 7 furlongs here. It didn't concern me in the slightest. I mean, not at all, because Mary Prankster actually won the duel, the race within a race, and dueled the speed opponent right off the board there. And that was a good field. That was a very good field. The winner of that has now won 3 consecutive on grass. And I think the place horse came back to set the pace and the stakes on turf. And Mary Prankster is the kind of horse that if denied the lead is going to take her toys and go home. I think she'll separate very quickly here into the first turn. 7/8 wouldn't concern me at all because I'm looking and I see her on synthetics, which is a demanding type of footing compared to turf. For the lead, holding game to be second. Outfooted for the lead. Dismissed early, holding game to be second. So with a lone F trip, I think Mary Prankster is not unlikely to give this field a grand tour. The only horse in there that could conceivably be a Mary Prankster is the 8 on Brilliant. And I got to give Eric Reed props, too, because he's targeted these kind of races with great success over the years. And he's got this high hit rate in his own right at Mountaineer. He's like 32% here on the year, maybe having his best season ever. And on Brilliant, I think it's very obvious here with a couple of placings at Turfway Park on synthetics, which is relatable to turf. And the horse won his career debut, her career debut on grass. And the last one might have been a little bit of a come down, to be really honest about it, because I thought the horse might run better than that at Beltara. Coming in from Turfway, some of the bigger purses, and given the way this horse had shown the affinity for turf first time to the post, I'm going to figure that must have been a pretty salty field for this horse to be that high at almost 5-1. The bar is a lot lower here for sure on Brilliant, and the horse ran okay at 7.5. Had some trouble there, or might not even be eligible.
Leon's a pretty good fucking jockey, too.
Oh, they're going to be short. You know what, AJ? I think actually, when the players have at this, I think a Mary Prankster might be lower than 5-2. I wouldn't bet my life that the 2 won't be favored to beat the 8.
I think that's true, Mark, because I think people are going to look at it. And I think everybody the 2 is going to get a shot to win.
Yeah.
The 8's a question mark of a shot to win because the 2 is going to go to the lead. I mean,
especially when I'm done moving the tote board, Randy.
Yeah, that is true. This is true.
Yeah.
Try doing a line and factoring that in sometime.
Yeah, exactly. It is true too. I always say, like, one day I want to move a line with the money I have. That's all I want. One day.
Watch the board. Watch the board right after my selections go up.
Oh, I know. Well, no, I mean,
not to go always quads.
Well, yeah, we talked about that before. Where I'm like, do you ever hold back because you're like, I don't want to give it away, and you said you don't.
No. But I
just gonna make my Bourbonic pick even more.
Oh, you know what? I will boost your odds, my man. I will boost your odds. I always tell serious players, my first piece of advice, I know this is not modest, but it is applicable, is only make serious wagers when you disagree with me, because my popularity is such that, and I'm just being honest, I'm keeping it real, that my picks get overbet. They definitely get overbet, and you can find value in going against me.
But like, I mean, all the jockeys that are there at Mountaineer right now, like I do know Sonny Leon. Like I know him. Like that's a popular name I know from playing a lot of different tracks.
Well, he's
over the course of the last year. That's what I mean. Like, so when I see that horse with Leon on, I'm like, okay, this horse is gonna get better.
Yeah, that horse has a lot of angles that I like. The second,
you don't get Jose Leon confused with Sonny Leon.
No, I know Sonny Leon. I know that. I know that jockey. He's good. He's been good for a long time. Because look, you might not know it, but I've played Mountaineer many times. I've played a lot of other tracks many times, and I know Sonny Leon.
That's great. One thing I just want to reiterate, guys, is it was great hanging with you to begin with, but it's not a tout show. I go into this every night on the air. I don't presume to tell anybody what to play. I assume the kind of sophisticates that bet after dark know what they're doing. Members of Mountaineer Nation are incredibly knowledgeable, and they are president of their own selection processes. So I'm only there to give a second opinion. Hopefully spiced with some local knowledge. It ain't a tout show. Wouldn't presume to tout anybody. And you can't make money on my selections to begin with because they are so overbet.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So what are our picks right here? Let's go through them real quick. Sarah, what do we got?
All right. So Alex, his late pick 4 is the 2-4-7 with the 1-3-6 with the 1 with the 2-3-8.
Yes. Byrd, y'all lost.
$4.50.
Y'all lost in the 8th race. I'm sorry.
It's not bad. $4.50, AJ. You got it.
Randy's late pick.
You know what, AJ? I'm almost tempted to root for Bourbonic because some folks
he's gonna win.
You know what? Some folks say, and I really can't concur here officially, that I could stand a little ego adjustment, sir.
Not by him, though.
Hey, don't worry. When Bourbonic wins, I'll see you on the simulcast.
Indeed, sir.
That was the bet.
Indeed. And when Bourbonic doesn't beat Mr. Wireless,
then I would have to scour the internet for.
I'm thinking Bill Skarsgård, maybe from It.
Yeah,
from the It movies.
Right. I'll look into. Well, I don't need to look into it, but
my pick 4 was.
No one cares about your pick 4.
I want some creepy clown. I want some creepy clown, AJ.
You got it.
Now, I'm gonna give the winner. Mine is 127 with the 3-6 with the 3-5 with the 1-3-8. That's mine. Mark had 1-7 with the 1-3-5 with, I believe, the 4-5. We did Warrant and Mr. Wireless, correct, Mark?
I try to be vague to maintain the mystery until showtime. I would like somebody to tune in, Randy.
Okay. And
this would not be a bad thing if somebody actually watched the show.
I'm not telling you what you just said 5 minutes ago.
Oh, goodness.
Sarah has 4-7 with the 1-5-6 with the 4-5 with the 2-7. Not much money we spent today, guys. I mean, I think we're all under $30 total. So
you're welcome, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are our picks. So anybody out there, if they want to ask a question to Mark, ask it now or forever. Hold your peace. He's here. Talk to him.
So Randy, that's a full-blown beard on purpose. AJ, you're just too lazy to shave. This is it, right?
Exactly.
100%. This is too lazy to shave.
Yeah, but
no, he did that. I'm just this is me 4 days in, and I'm like, nah.
Sarah loves it.
I'm about 2 or 3 here myself.
There you go.
It looks good, man.
There you go. All right.
I still want to know how many ounces. I still want to know how many ounces that solo cup holds. Is that a full 16-ounce solo cup?
Next week we will figure this out.
Don't you worry about it.
Mark's got hands on him,
dude. He's got hands like 5 times the.
All right, everybody. Thank you for.
This is getting just weird, guys.
Welcome to our weird ass show.
That's all I care about.
To everybody playing Mountaineer this Saturday, it's a big day, so make sure you are playing. They have several other stakes races we did not go over. Make sure you tune in to their simulcast where you can see Mark Patterson talk all about the races, get more in depth. And Mark,
can I plug it real quick, Sarah Clown?
Of course, yes.
Almost $1.5 million in purses, 7 added money events, a competitive West Virginia Derby. Several horses have a bona fide chance. Some storylines like Colonel's Dark Temper attempting to pull off the rare Derby Governor's Double. You know what? We have got some novelty stakes too. We got a 4.5 job with $75,000 at stake, which is very unique. It's always thrilling. Got a couple of grass races, and the weatherman says that it's probably not going to rain. And turf's a great spectacle. We got big fields and those turf races, so a fine time is going to be had by all. The ladies wear derby hats. We're going to have food trucks outside, Chick-fil-A. You know when Shannon and I, my son, were walking the malls on a daily basis because of the cold weather, pandemic, vacant malls, Chick-fil-A was going to have a truck out on the apron, Derby Day. Man, they outdid everybody else. They buried the other food stations, the food stands in the malls. They're like lined up 30 deep during the pandemic. What is the appeal there?
They can't go on Sunday?
It's not worth standing in line for. It's good, but not worth standing in line.
And you
I should say that while I'm plugging Chick-fil-A to have a food truck outside on Derby.
You have the biggest lock of all time on your card.
Oh, jeez. Here we go. All right.
The biggest lock of all time. Of all time.
I got a question for you guys. There was an in-house contest where employees, for a prize, I think it was $50 or free dinner at the hotel, were allowed to submit a name for the Derby drink a couple of years ago. Now, I'm going to give you 2 names. Derby Breeze won it, okay? The second finisher who was submitted, it was submitted by an employee who shall remain anonymous here, was Panhandle Pucker. Panhandle Pucker. Please tell me, guys, which would have been a better name for the Derby drink. Derby Breeze,
Panhandle Pucker,
Blasé, too conservative, no pop to it, or Panhandle Pucker, which describes the region. Describes the region and is also just a little bit risque. And you don't know quite what to expect from it. What's the better name?
Yeah, you gotta take a risk.
I should have won the contest, correct?
Yeah, it was you.
It was me.
You know he put it in there. I knew that the whole time when you said it.
Oh, no.
This guy I know, Panhandle Pucker, is pretty good. It sounds a little bit of, like, hey guys,
stick to morning lines.
Pucker the other day, you know what I mean? They'd be like, oh wow, stone on the floor. See, I can't drink water.
Randy's cut off from seltzer water.
Speaking of that, let me go drink. All right.
Yes, Mark. Everybody, Mark. Always a pleasure to have you back on our show.
Yeah.
Thanks for everybody joining in the chat. All our Pub Sports guys. I know you guys are jumping on live probably right about now.
Yep.
And
now I got another one of these things I got to do on another podcast.
Wait, whoa. You do other podcasts?
Whoa. Yeah.
Whoa.
He does.
What podcast? Do I need to get on there and just trash them or what?
No, you can really plug it. It's fine.
It's just audio. It's not visual.
Well, what is it? No, you can say what it is.
I know what it is.
You know what?
Yeah. Plug it.
I know what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna plug it. Let me check my phone here.
Yeah, plug them. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to plug these guys if I have my phone here. I do. Thanks, guys, too, for the opportunity. It's a guy named Gary Quill. And it's
Gary Quill? No, I'm just kidding. We don't know him.
Gary Quill. Hold on.
No idea who that is.
Talk amongst yourselves. I appreciate this.
You're the worst guest of all time for him.
Again, fuck you, Tom. I just want to point that out there real fast.
Oh, the Packers are terrible?
Yeah. Well, and he said nice work, except for all for me. And Packers are terrible. So, yeah. Tom, I don't know why we let him in here anymore, honestly.
Hey, one thing I do want to say, guys, just take 1 minute. I get questions about Peter Barry and his absence. Pete is on official leave. I don't know if he's on walkabout or if he's purchased a European soccer team. Pete's got the money to do it. But Pete's return
If he
Pete's
did,
return is imminent, but I just don't know when, guys. I wish I could tell all those fans when, but I don't know. I just do not.
Will you tell us what soccer team you bought if it comes back? I'm very interested.
No,
Marcus,
Sarah Klein, please Google Gary Quill for me and find the website. You're so much better with this device than I am. Yeah, horse racing radar.
Yeah, is that
what you're on?
That is it. That is it.
Okay, yeah. So big shout out to they're friends of ours. You guys have seen them on our show. We've been on their show. Rich and the gang, Sean.
Yeah, we're cool with them.
Yeah, Mark is doing they're writing an article.
No. Sean's a different deal. I'm not doing a podcast with him.
Well, make sure you check out Horse Racing Radar.
Is that Gary Quill? Is Gary Quill Horse Racing Radar?
Yeah.
No.
Thanks for checking it out, Sarah Clown.
Gary Quill.
Gary Quill? I just looked it up.
I think he has a
horse racing nut.
The
racingbiz.com.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Well, when can they see that? And we can tell them. Gary
Randy says listen up to that.
Yeah, get us on the show, Gary Quill. Jesus.
Maryland guy. Okay. All right. Well, you'll be on that. So go do that. And if he sees this, do it before he sees this, because he'll probably never ask you on his show after this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because of us, not you, Mark. Mostly.
But yes, make sure you check out Mark on, it looks like Horse Racing Net, which you can find him on Twitter. TheRacingBiz.com is their website.
So how many, you guys are affiliated now with Degen Nation?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you work for them? Is that what it is?
Well,
I'm gonna just end this.
they think.
All right, we're gonna
See you later, everybody.
Wait, why are we leaving?